News Radio 700 WLW.
So I saw this. Who doesn't want to know what their life expectancy is? I saw this. This was a study done in Brazil. They rounded up folks between the ages of 51 and 75 to undergo a brief physical test and subsequently track their health over the following years. And it led the researchers in this test to determine exactly when you might die within 7 years. It is called the Flamingo Test. Each person asked to stand barefoot on one leg while keeping their other leg raised in the air, kind of like a flamingo. They also had to keep their head upright and their arms straight at their side for 10 seconds. 20% of the 1,702 people, 20% were unable to complete the test. The rest did. So what does this tell us about longevity? What does this tell us about living? Their study, as it came out over 7 years, said that the older you got, the higher the risk of all-cause mortality. 80% higher risk of all-cause mortality for people unable to complete the Flamingo Test. What is the Flamingo Test? What is the key to living long? Who doesn't want to live a long life? Standing by is someone who has lived a long life. As a matter of fact, Lorraine Snider-Hanley is 91 years old. She unfortunately has lost her ability to see. She never tried the Flamingo Test when she was younger. She had 9 children back-to-back for a total of 81 months of pregnancy. But last year, she and her daughter wrote a book. Her daughter is Linda Kaye, and they co-wrote a best-selling book together called Miracles on My Doorstep, Immigrating to America, Faith Finds Freedom. Linda Kaye, how are you on this glorious day?
I'm doing fantastic. You know what? You were just talking about this Flamingo test, and you described it. Didn't it sound just like a field sobriety test where you have to stand on one leg?
Now, Linda, would you do us the honor in introducing your mother, please?
I would be delighted. Mom, I think you've amazed.
Well, good morning, Linda.
You think you've amazed pretty much everybody, not only in your family, but for people around you. What would you say the number one reason is that you've lived this long?
Well, one of the good reasons, and one of the reasons I live, of course, I live to share the Word of God with people. I live to stand on one foot and try this. In fact, I tried it last night after you and I talked. Standing on one leg, make sure you hang on to something. At 91, you don't want to stand there like a crane and fall over.
Yeah.
But hang on to it. But I can balance myself for short periods of time. Yes, I can.
Yeah,
living a long life is try to stay happy. Try to stay happy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Find the good things in life.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
So Linda Kaye, let's talk about this. Lorraine, we'll get back to you in just a second. So anyway, Linda Kaye, have you taken this test? Have you taken this test?
I have. As a matter of fact, in yoga, we call it the tree. So you're on one leg, and you've got to stand in that pose for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and it can be tough. At a doctor, you're not really putting your foot up like to the knee like you would in a tree position, but the doctor's looking for your ability to balance because, Ken, as it turns out, balance is everything. And as you get older, balance and being able to focus and having that inner ear activity that gives us that balance means that you're at risk to fall. And the older you get, the worse those falls are. How many people can recover from a fall at 85 and 90 years old so they break their hip? Because that's what happens. Our bones get old, more brittle, and that's kind of dangerous.
Yeah. Well, I've been completely unbalanced my entire life. So so let me get this straight here now. I want to get this straight here, if I could, Lorraine. So you had 9 children back to back for a total of 81 months of pregnancy?
If you're going to do something, do it right and get it all done with, and then go on to the next job you have in life.
Well, the question...
You know, wait a minute,
the question...
I have to say something on that one, Ken. Some people are lucky enough to have a litter of them. Mom just did them one at a time.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Lorraine, the problem is you stopped 2 kids too short. You would have had a football team. If you had a couple more, you would have had an entire football
that's
team.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, she had a couple of rules, though, you know, and I think we practiced one leg very early on. We had one rule at the table for all of us. It was to keep one foot on the floor at all times.
That's in case they have to run.
Oh my goodness! I mean, I God bless you for that. And you said, Lorraine, you took this test last night. You did okay.
I did. I did for about 30 seconds, and I thought, well, gee, I don't know why I don't do this more often. That would help my balance.
Do you put any stock? Do you put any stock, Lorraine? Do you put any stock in that if you do this, you're, the likelihood of you dying within 7 years it goes down? So you did this. You're 91. It looks like 100's well within your sight now.
Well, I imagine I will die within the next 7 years, at least. If I continue on with the health I have now, I wouldn't mind. But if you begin to deteriorate, I'll just stand on one leg and wobble.
Yeah, I understand. Now, Linda, you and your mom wrote this book. It's called Miracles on My Doorstep, Immigrating to America, Faith, and Finds Freedom. What is the book about, and why did you write it?
So when Mom was 89, I kind of tricked her. You know, as we get older, Ken, what we really want, as Mom's describing, is her health. It's not just her physical health. It's her mental health as well. And having a sense of purpose gives you that drive to keep going, to keep moving, to do something. And so I kind of tricked her and said, Mom, what do you want to leave your legacy as? She was a little depressed about going blind at 87. I would be too. You think you're done with lessons in life, and they just keep going. So she said, well, what do you think? And I said, a book. And she goes, oh, no, that'll take too long. And I said, no, Mom, one of my master class teachers said we could do it in 30 days. And literally 13 months later, we did get the book done. But Mom showed up every week, 2 days a week, 2 hours at a time, and I would ask her questions and then just begin to write. And what turned out of this, Ken, is something incredible. And I highly encourage any of your listeners, if you've ever thought about finding the purpose and finding the legacy in your own family before it's gone, ask your elders questions. And that's what I did. What that offered to the rest of our family was stories and more stories about where we come from and why did we come and how did we get here and what are we doing now. And the miracles are just a description of what her life has been all about. It wasn't just us arriving in a basket by the stork on her doorstep. It was, it was challenged. And being able to meet those challenges with godly blessings was a miraculous kind of life. And so that's what I wrote about.
Yeah, Linda, what was the most startling thing you realized, which is something that probably every family could realize? There's probably one startling moment in every family's history. It was one of those things like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that's how we arrived here, or that's how the family got here, or why we have so many brothers, sisters, cousins, and nephews. What was the one startling thing you discovered in your journey with your mom?
Well, it came about in the first chapter, and that first chapter is all about immigrating to America. And faith finds freedom. That was what drove them, their faith, the ability to practice their religion, to practice their beliefs, and being able to pray openly. That was important to them. That wasn't the startling thing. It was that after they arrived, the work ethic that they arrived with, the purpose and reason why they left what turns out to be Ukraine, which was Russia at the time, was not only freedom and freedom to worship, but what they saw was the beginning of Stalinism, which became socialism. And the startling thing that I learned in this book was my mother's father, my grandfather, said, be careful and practice your freedom in America, because that could happen here. And Ken, look around. You know, you don't have to go very far to see, you know, how far liberalism can go and how many things can go wrong in our society. So seeing that startling contrast between then and now, and over 100 years has passed, it is startling.
Yeah. And Lorraine, when you were in the process of writing this, as close as you were to your daughter, I would think you grew even closer. That would be my guess. Am I right?
Yeah, I think that we learned and got some deeper understanding of each other.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes you live with a daughter lives with a mother, and you take a lot of things for granted. But she got to know me as a woman, who I really was in my younger days, and the person I really am today. I think that was really important.
I think that's an important point, Ken, because in any beehive, there's only one queen bee. So, you know, that's why we go about, you know, if we did a good job, we've raised our kids and they've moved on. And we kind of lose track of who that parent is, because they appear to get older and we appear to be farther and farther until we're reversing our roles. One becomes the parent and the other one becomes the child. Yeah. But in this instance, what she just described really did happen. As I started to ask her questions, I began to realize this woman had dreams, and she had a belief, not only a belief that we knew, but a belief that things would be okay, and that sense of purpose and that sense of attitude and positive attitude that we will get through this. You know, the remarkable thing was that she was in love with my father. You never think of your parents being in love with each other. They've got a job to do, being mom, being dad.
Right. Well,
so that was a remarkable, refreshing.
I would hope she was in love with your father. I mean, 9 kids. That'd be a hell of a deal if they weren't.
Oh, my goodness. I had a very, very wonderful life with my husband. I only knew him several weeks before I married him, and took care of him for 25 years.
Oh, that's beautiful.
We continued to love one another. Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yes, we did.
The book is Miracles on My Doorstep, Immigrating to America, Faith Finds Freedom. Linda Kaye and Lorraine Snider-Hanley are the authors, and apparently they both can do the Flamingo Test. I like that. I'm going to go try the Flamingo Test right now. I might wind up as...
and keep moving.
Yeah, I might wind up as like a jackrabbit with like 4 feet on the ground, but I'll try and let you know how it goes. Ladies, thanks for your time and stay well. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.
You bet. You bet.